Welcome to this edition of the Conscious Business Coffee Break, where we take a few moments to explore what's happening in the conscious business movement, expand awareness, and support your efforts in conscious business. Greetings, everybody. I'm Stephen Donaco of the Conscious Business Enterprise, a division of Humanities team. And on today's program, the discussion is about how only people can live a business's values. And I was led to this topic today by a piece that appeared in Reuters titled Google to Scrub US Military Deal Protested by Employees. And essentially, this story is about Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, making the announcement that it's not going to renew a contract that it has with the US military to analyze aerial drone imagery when that contract expires in March. And the program, which is called Project Maven, set off a revolt inside of the company. And a bunch of employees basically opposed Google using its technology in warfare. And in alignment with the company's stated values, rightly so. Basically, these employees had protested because this contract, this work they were doing for the military, they felt clashed with the company's stated principle of doing no harm. And I recall when Google first came on the scene many years ago that this was really one of its very visible pillars. That I think actually specifically Google's value was to do no evil. So here we are all these years later, and now Google's a big company with a lot of power and a lot of intelligence and a lot of technological prowess. And here you have these employees saying, well, wait a minute, your principle, our principle, is to do no harm. And here we're participating in a contract where the purpose is dubious. So basically, the employees raised the red flag, citing risks around using a nascent artificial intelligence technology in lethal situations. So more than 700 Google employees joined an online group in the company initially to express their concerns about the project and discuss how they might go about protesting it. And then ultimately, more than 4,600 employees signed a petition calling for Google to cancel the deal with the government, and at least 13 employees ended up resigning in recent weeks, protesting the project and Google's involvement in it. And then just to give balance to this, on the company side, executives defended the contract, saying that this technology was being used for non-offensive tasks and therefore would help to save lives. But as Google ventures into this new territory, which is these government contracts, a group of 9 people are working internally on a set of ethical guidelines for any future military contracts. So there's a response to this, the people standing up, and now there's an internal company response that we're putting together an ethical committee to develop guidelines. So I found this story fascinating because a lot of companies have values that are words on paper, essentially, or it's a poster that's up in the lobby of the building, or in the elevator lobbies. These are the company values, and sort of everybody is aware that they exist. And how often are they really embodied, or are they just simply words on a poster? So, and Google being the very visible company it is, and making that very bold statement all those years ago to do no evil, to have these employees step up at this time and basically question that and say, well, this is not resonant. This is out of alignment with those principles, and we as employees want to embody those principles. We don't believe they're just words on a page. That they actually have resonance and they have meaning. So really good for these employees. I admire their courage in stepping up, and especially for those who ended up resigning ultimately. I mean that's an act of being a truly a conscious business person, and uh, and I just applaud them for doing it. You know, and with respect to the Conscious Business Declaration, there are two principles at work here. And frankly, I don't know if anybody from Google has signed a declaration. I don't believe Google as a company has signed our Conscious Business Declaration. But I always want to, in this program, keep the focus of the declaration, because the more that we build consciousness of the Conscious Business Declaration, and the more we look at stories like this, uh, the quicker that we are all enabling the shift and supporting the shift to a conscious business environment. So the two principles that I saw at work here with regard to this piece were, one, that business must behave as a positive and proactive member of the local and global communities in which it operates. So this story just fits perfectly in line with that, because uh, people stood up and said what we're doing as a company is not in resonance with our values of doing no evil. And we, in order to behave as a positive and proactive member of the local and global communities in which we operate, we have to start with us as people. So again, you know, this is about really people becoming conscious of the values, because the business in and of itself is a non-conscious entity. I mean, it's basically a legal structure. So it really, truly, and only can be up to people to be conscious, and then live ultimately those values that are words on paper. Because the business, as just a legal entity, isn't able to do that without the consciousness of the people that actually operate it. And then the next principle in the Conscious Business Declaration that I saw at work here was Principle 6, which is business that sees, honors, and celebrates the essential interconnected nature of all human beings and all life, maximizes human potential, and helps create a world that works for all, versus creating a world that's at war with itself. So there's a link, of course, in the video to the story, and I will put that in there in the moment. And then also in the intro to this video, as with every Conscious Business Coffee Break, there's a link to the Conscious Business Declaration. So I invite you, if you haven't already, to take a look at that. And if the principles resonate with you, please sign it. And then there's also a link to our training program, the Conscious Business Enterprise. So thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again on Friday, 9 a.m. U.S. Central Time, for another edition of the Conscious Business Coffee Break. Have a great day, everyone.